Today we're going to look at 10 things you must know to climb as someone who is new to the game. Number 1 is to make sure you appreciate how much you don't know about the game yet. When starting any competitive title, the only decisions you can possibly make are based on the very limited information you have about the game. You won't be able to consider what the enemy legends are capable of, how to counter their loadouts, or even at times what to expect around this corner.
Oh my goodness.
So give yourself a break at this stage, because there's only so much you can do until your knowledge of the game increases. Second is the importance of communication. It's a team game where every player really matters. The synergy between players and the number of ways you can support each other can be taken advantage of so much if the team uses the in-game systems to share information. This doesn't mean you have to talk with voice comms if you're shy, don't have a mic, or even just don't want to talk, although it is probably the most beneficial way to communicate. But at least use the ping system to indicate where you're going, where you want the team to go, if you see an enemy, and any good quality loot you see around. All of this information goes a long way and will help ensure that the team are in as good a position as possible when engaged in gunfights. Next up is use cover. It sounds obvious, but new players notoriously take fights out in the open, only deciding to run for cover once they realize they're about to lose. Being behind cover whenever you can will limit the number of times you get beamed by the enemy, as peeking reduces your visible hitbox, effectively making you a smaller target, as well as giving you breathing room to heal or use that second or two while reloading safely before peeking again. If you find that your team are dropping like flies, consider that it might not be the best decision to res your teammate in the middle of a gunfight. At times you can pull this off, but as the level of competition gets harder, it's extremely difficult to get away with. Resing an ally is an action that can be heard by enemies from a reasonably far away position. Hearing it will often encourage them to push you in this vulnerable situation, particularly as your camera movement is locked out while performing the res, reducing your awareness greatly. What you can do, however, is realize the benefit you can take advantage of when your teammate's on the ground. If you're caught out without cover, for example, you can use your partner's knockdown shield as mobile cover to bob and weave your opponent's gunfire. Next, when the enemy is downed, it's worth knowing that if you run up to them and use your finisher animation, besides the humiliation they have to go through, you also replenish your shields completely too. You only get this benefit if you complete the finisher, so make sure you're in a reasonably safe position before you do it. If a player gets finished after being downed, they get repackaged with everything they own into this little box. A key feature of this transition is that the player's shield inside comes fully replenished, so in a squeeze you also have the option, and should always take this option when possible, of doing a quick shield swap mid-fight, the equivalent of popping a shield bat in a second. At 8, make sure you're always aware of flanks. It's good to learn right away that better players will rarely run in a straight line towards you. They will more often than not be looking for a side door, window ledge, or some other angle to spring up on you out of nowhere. Try and consider what the enemy's options are so you can remain vigilant of those angles and position yourself better beforehand. When all these tips aren't enough and your banner timer has run out, rendering you unable to get back into the game, know that staying in the lobby will net you the additional gains your remaining team earns, even after your demise. This means that rather than finishing whatever you were placed at when you died and left the game, you can get the multiplier for whatever position your last squad member makes if you stayed and watched, especially useful if you already had good kill participation that game, and because you get considerably more rewarded overall the higher you place. If you're completely new to PC gaming in general, or just not finding the mouse and keyboard playstyle to your liking, consider using a controller. It's fully supported in Apex and actually comes with its own unique benefits, the main one being aim assist. Put simply, this is a built-in feature that provides controller players with a slight bit of assisted enemy tracking that gives these players an unparalleled control to empty full clips into a moving target. And although its adoption has been a bit controversial for some, it is widely adopted and accepted, even at the top levels of pro play and also other modern FPS titles too these days. I hope this list has a bunch of useful information for you if you're a new player to the game, and even a few nuggets for those a bit more familiar. Let me know if anything was particularly useful so I can get an idea of the types of things to include in future videos. It's a lot to learn and look out for, so make sure you keep having fun, and when you play to win.